Hey, okay, who else is in a house full of people and feeling like you could just use a minute right about now? Yeah? Okay, so let's talk about how do you actually get a little bit of quiet alone time in a house full of people when no one's going anywhere for a while. This morning, Evelyn, who is 6, asked me if I would take her outside to watch her scooter. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a great idea, right? I'll take my tea and I'll go sit on the front doorstep and I'll have some alone time with my thoughts while she's scootering and she'll be busy and going up and down the street, and I can just sit and think and relax, and that'll be great, right? I'll have this nice alone time with my thoughts. And so we went outside and she put on the cute little helmet that makes her head like twice as big. And we set out the boundaries, like you can scoot from here to here and go back and forth in that zone, and don't go past that, and don't go, out in the street. Like here's your space. And she was all set to go. And so she starts going up and down the street, and I sit back at my tea and like, okay. And I got about half a thought. Got through about like half of a thought before she was like, Mom, look at this. Check out this thing I'm doing. So I looked and waved, and she kept going, and another like halfway through the next thought, and she was like, watch this thing I can do. Watch me do this and this. And Mom, did you see this thing over here? And did you see the tree starting to have green leaves? And look, there's a bird. And over again. And as this is going on, I'm starting to get kind of frustrated because like I'm not alone with my thoughts, people. And I realized after a minute that the problem was not the scootering, and the problem was not the endless chatter. The problem was that I expected I was going to be alone with my thoughts while watching a 6-year-old scooter, right? That's not how 6-year-olds work. What kid has ever been outside riding a scooter while Mom's there and not said, watch me do this trick. Look what I can do. See this? Did you see that? Mom, are you watching? Are you watching? Right? Of course. So, okay, so I stopped and I abandoned the like, I'm going to think quietly plan. And I just watched her scooter, and that was fine. But then I really did have to figure out, how am I going to get some alone time? Because at least for me, some time alone every single day to think my thoughts and feel my feelings and maybe journal some things or read a book or whatever it is, alone time is important to me. So how do we get that, right? Because I think we need a lot of tools for this. Because the thing is, what worked yesterday is not necessarily what's going to work today, and what works today is not necessarily going to work tomorrow. So we need to have a lot of options of things to draw on for this one. I also think it's important to just notice right now, guys, that right now you're probably trying to do more things than ever, right? You're maybe trying to work from home. You're trying to keep your household running. You're being a parent if you've got kids around. You are in relationship with people. All those things that you are doing could be full-time jobs in and of themselves. And you're trying to do them right now, one on top of the other, on top of the other. And they're not ever ending. There's no breaks. There's no separation. It's just like, it's all in there right now. And we're trying to do all those things with less resources than we have ever had before. Right? We're trying to do all that stuff without the breaks probably of childcare or somebody else coming to hang out and step in and distract the kids, or play dates, or being able to go out and hang out at a coffee shop for a while, or just like wander around Target, whatever it is that you might be able to do in your regular everyday life to get a little bit of a break. You probably have less access to that right now. So that's hard. And if you're feeling that right now, I just want to point out, like, that makes so much sense. Right? If you're overwhelmed and you're like, I need a break, I need a little minute here, that makes sense. It's not just you. We're with you. We're all in this together, and it's not just you who's feeling that way. It makes so much sense. But what do we do with that? Oh, and you guys, some of you I know are feeling the opposite, right? You are not at all feeling like there's too many people. You're like, where did the people go? When can somebody come hang out at my house and bring brownies and sit over a cup of coffee and just talk face to face? If that's where you are, I see you. Thank you so, so much for staying home and for doing that right now. I know it's hard. We all know, and we really appreciate so much you choosing to do that and to stay home and to not be seeing people where you could be, spreading germs around right now. Thank you so much. But those of you who are in a household full of people, what are we going to do? So for me, there's 8 people who live here right now. And from the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed at night, I could go all day long and every 30 seconds have somebody popping in to say, Mom, have you seen my socks? Mom, what's for breakfast? Mom, have you seen the snacks? Mom, where's my book? Like, just stuff, right? Just every couple of minutes all day long, I could have people popping in to ask me things, and eventually my brain needs a little break. So that's just like regular everyday life. Right now, it's extra. Um, so what do we do with all that? Okay, so first thing, a little bit ridiculous, but really truly, I will just like put on headphones plugged into nothing and walk around with the headphones on if I need some quiet. Because for one thing, it is quieter. I can't hear a thing with the headphones on. But also then when the kids come up and see me, they realize that my ears are not immediately available. And they'll come up and at least say like, oh, excuse me, or mom, do you have a second? Before they jump in and start talking, which gives me a second to breathe and get into the right headspace before I answer them. So a little bit ridiculous, but honestly, headphones for no reason. Second thing is for my kids who are old enough, which right now is all my kids over about 5 at my house, this tends to work. I will literally say, guys, mom needs an hour. I need time right now to not talk, not listen, not answer questions, not anymore for 1 hour. And then they know what I need. And then I say, so what can you do with that time? What are you going to do while I'm doing that? And then they get to decide for themselves how they're going to spend that time. And I'm not the one saying, here's what you're going to do for an hour. It gives them a little bit more agency. It gives them a choice of what they're going to do and gives them the power and control to figure that out for themselves. That reminds me that we had in an earlier video, we talked about how to get your work done while there are kids at home. A lot of those same strategies work just as well if you're not trying to get work done, but you just want to be alone. So you can go back and check those out and totally repurpose those same things. Okay, but what do you do if your kids are not yet at the age where you can just say, hey, I need an hour, or I need 5 minutes, honestly, right? Like when my kids were little, mom needs 5 minutes was not gonna fly. That one's a little bit trickier. So if your kids are small enough that they are not going to like just play nicely for an hour while you're doing something else or for 5 minutes, the first thing is they probably are in a stage where they're still needing more sleep than you do, if we're lucky. So in that case, maybe there is some time early in the morning or late at night after they've gone to bed or before they've gotten up in the morning, or maybe when they're napping, where you're up and they're not. So in that case, we want to be really intentional with how we're using that time. It, for me, was so tempting to, if I woke up before them, to spend that time like scrolling, something like that, that didn't fill me up again. So I want to be really intentional when my kids are sleeping and I'm not, that I'm using that time to do the thing that I need that will feel like I've had my alone time, I've had some thinking time or some feeling time or some journaling time or whatever it is. So that's one thing. A second thing is really there are whole websites on the internet devoted to like activities for preschoolers and toddlers, right? Pinterest is full of them. Just go and Google those things and get yourself a big old long list of things to try to keep them busy for a little bit of time. Now, when you have that list, and personally, I needed a giant list when my kids were small because nothing worked for more than like 20 minutes, right? But once I have my strategies, whether that is, toys they don't get to play with any other time, or something super sensory like Play-Doh, or they're gonna play with the pots and pans instead of with toys, or it's a tech solution, like whatever it is that my kid's gonna do for that little bit of time. Again, I want to be really, really intentional with how I'm using that time, that I'm not just doing it, putting out fires, or using that time to scroll or to do things that are going to feel like I didn't get a break, right? I want to make sure that I'm using that time for what I really need to fill me back up, which means I have to be honest with myself about what I actually need. Do I need to just like shut out all noise and have quiet for a minute? Do I need to journal? Do I need to read a chapter in a book? Because reading to me always feels like immersing myself in a bigger story and remembering that this moment is not all that there is. It feels so good. Maybe I need a conversation with another grown up. I need to FaceTime a friend or talk with my husband or whatever it is. Be really honest with yourself about what you most need in that time, and make sure you're giving yourself that in those little moments that you are getting, that you're engineering throughout the day, now, and then again in an hour, and then again in an hour, or in the evening, or whatever it is, to make sure that you're really getting what you need when that time does appear. Okay, so from the very ridiculous headphones for no reason to the slightly more practical, I hope that is helpful, and I'd love to hear what works for you to get a little bit more time to yourself in the day when there are a million voices and things going on. I can always use more strategies because, like I said, what works today doesn't always work tomorrow. Thanks. Talk to you guys soon.